I started realizing that there were some people I needed to make some amends to. I got to get this stuff off my plate. So, like, fifth step in 2 years, man, I can't wait to do it.
That's because you care, man.
Yeah.
You got some results.
I did.
We're the type of people that if I don't see results, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing to do with
Yeah.
it. But if I get some results from something, I would like some more, please. Welcome back to Beyond the Struggle. It's a podcast brought to you by Woodlakes Addiction Recovery Center. If you are out there struggling, let us help you. If you know someone that's struggling, let us help you help them. Reach out to Eddie, Lily, and Jody at Woodlake Admissions. They're the heartbeat of the facilities. The phone number is 225-939-3656. Look, you're not going to be able to beat this on your own. Take it firsthand. I know. Ask for help. I know it's the hardest thing to do. Ask for help to help your loved ones. If you are the loved one, ask for help. You can call me personally at 337-557-9191. This week, pretty excited. I got some friends of mine from Rise Community Hospital. I had the privilege to go visit this place about 8 months ago, and then I stopped by about 2 months ago, and man, I wish this place was around when I was in full-blown addiction. You're going to get to hear about what they do here in a minute, but I have Mr. Jake and Mr. Brandon with us today from Rise Community Hospital. What's up, fellas?
What's going on,
Hey,
Matt?
man, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, brother. I'm doing well.
Excited to
Glad
be
y'all are here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
So, who wants to take the lead on what is Rise Community Hospital all about?
Okay. We're a fully non-narcotic hospital system. We specialize in detox. We've got locations out in Austin, San Antonio, Omaha, Nebraska. We just recently opened the location out here in Prairieville back in mid-May. And the goal is to just offer, an alternative to like what some of these other hospital systems are offering. We don't prescribe opiates. We don't use benzos. We are trying to, get to a place where fully comprehensive healthcare environment, from surgeries to, primary care. So all of that, we're just trying to offer a safe alternative for the struggling addict.
So that place is, and look, this blew me away. It's not just a detox.
No.
I mean, y'all have a X-ray machine, an MRI machine.
Basically everything but an MRI. So we got CT, X-ray, ultrasound.
Okay.
We got a fully staffed lab, so we can do like on-site labs. There's a few things we have to send out, but for the most part, we can cover everything in-house.
All right.
But yeah, we'll take anything off the street, gunshot, sickness. We've seen a couple raccoon bites recently, so that's pretty cool. Yeah.
South African raccoon attack.
In Baton Rouge.
Mm-hmm. Exotic pet store.
You sure they just weren't on some type of drug telling y'all that?
I don't know.
Exotic
Well,
pet store.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't know what a South African raccoon was, but we looked it up, and it turns out it's just a regular raccoon that moved all its black stripes to one part of its body.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
That's some good research right there.
Yeah, we had to look it up. We Googled it, and that's exactly what it is.
So, Jake, what do you do at Rise?
I'm the on-site supervisor. So pretty much like the day-to-day operations is what I'm concerned with. And, we've got patient advocates that I work closely with and just making sure that the patient's getting, the highest quality of care. That's kind of where we're trying to step in and offer, that service as a place where the addict can go and just feel, safe at home, surrounded by people, with compassion, empathy. That part is kind of what I help. The advocates that we have on site are what make it easy, though.
That's what Brandon is, correct?
Yeah, so Brandon is recently promoted to alumni coordinator, but he has been an advocate since the beginning. So he helped.
I think he's still gonna stay in that.
He helped. We're gonna try to squeeze as much out of him as we can, dude.
I might have just met him, but I get this feeling that he's still gonna play that role.
He's been integral.
I'll play whatever role they need me to play, honestly. Yeah.
So what exactly is the role of a patient advocate at a detox?
So,
Or
I
community
mean,
hospital.
we are oftentimes other than the front desk, the first person that they see. Right, we bring them in and explain what our process is. Kind of go over the rules with them. Try to make them feel immediately welcome. Of course, we have the uncomfortable privilege of dressing them out, which is but we do everything from the computer work for intake, coordinate with rehab facilities. We make sure that their insurance is in line. We also feed and talk recovery and take them out to smoke and sometimes give them hand massages if their joints are hurting too bad or whatever. Really, we're just there to usher them through the detox process, right? Just like the book tells us, is that the recovering alcoholic can win the trust of another quicker than anybody else.
That's right.
They take a great sense of the patients take a great sense of comfort in knowing that we know what it's been through.
Okay.
And I really want to state clearly that the only real qualification that I have for working in a detox hospital is that I have been in one.
The most important qualification.
Right. So, there's a lot of times when the doctors or nurses are dealing with the patient who may be struggling a little harder at one moment, and you hear it all the time. You don't know what I'm going through.
Yeah.
That's right. They don't, but we do. So anytime that I hear that, I'm stepping in just to sit by the bed if they need it.
Yeah, man, we've been given the power to help.
Yeah, that's right.
So, both of you guys are in recovery, correct?
Absolutely.
How long?
3.5 years.
3.5 years.
Yeah.
And how about you?
Just over 2. I celebrated 2 years, December 30th.
2 years in December.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
Thank you.
What does that journey look like? Brief, journey from, maybe the worst of the worst to where you're at today.
Been in and out of the rooms of AA since 20 years old. I spent
So you've been in and out for about 4 years?
Yeah.
24? Good looking guy right there.
I appreciate it. That's good.
Bro.
That's good. In and out, and then for all of my 20s basically, and then towards the end of it, just feeling stuck in this cycle and not really knowing what to do, and even though I'd been told all these tools and I'd been through the steps and I'd done all the things that was told of me, somehow I still couldn't get to a place where I felt I had a purpose. And so I was sitting in a sober living and I overdosed, and it was something that I had intended to do that day. Luckily, I was offered through like a friend of a friend of a friend situation, an opportunity to move to Austin, Texas, to actually be a patient at Rise, at one of our hospitals out there. And so I kind of went not really knowing what the future was going to hold. I just knew that I was open to anything. I was going to give it one last shot, and if it didn't work, I was going to just try again. That was kind of the plan.
Yeah.
And then I had an opportunity to be a patient in the hospital and kind of see like our advocates like firsthand, like from that perspective. And even after I discharged, just being like surrounded by the Rise community out there, being brought, it was like a second family to me.
Yeah.
One that I desperately needed. And I got to go through the step work and with a sponsor with a fresh perspective. I kind of, God was always like a struggle, so, but having that opportunity to just kind of experience what I think recovery should look like in a different environment, really helped.
So 3.5 years or 4.5 years?
3.5.
So 3.5 years ago, you were sitting in a detox bed.
Yeah.
At Rise Community Hospital in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And now you are running the day-to-day operations for Rise Community Hospital of Prairieville, Louisiana.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, bro.
I didn't plan this.
I know you didn't. I could listen to you for 10 seconds and understand that you had no idea this was coming.
No. Not a clue.
You cool with God?
Yeah, I've got my own conception of God.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and
I
God.
hope so.
Yeah, me and God have. Yeah, we've gotten
He's hooked you up, dog.
we've gotten
Yeah,
friendly
man.
recently. Yeah, that's it's kind of hard to deny, especially after looking at the last 3.5 years. Especially after looking at the incident that initiated me coming out to Austin to begin with. It's hard to deny it.
Well, look, man, I can just the brief time that I've known you and the few interactions I've had with you, I don't think they could have found a better person for the job.
I appreciate you
And I
saying
mean
that.
that because all you guys over there, I love it. I love talking about y'all and visiting with you guys. So yeah, I know Austin's sick.
Yeah, he wanted to be here today. He told me to tell you. He said hi. Yeah.
All right, man. What about you, Brandon? Worst of the worst. So where you at now?
Much like Jake, my addiction looked like a bunch of different things over the course of my life. I knew at 17 that I had a problem. I went to my first rehab at 19. Really, all I was trying to do then was beat charges.
Yeah.
And I've been to all kind of different rehabs. I've been to private rehabs. I've been to, fresh off the, sleeping under staircases, Salvation Army rehabs. I've gone from party drugs to pharmaceuticals to shooting crack to, just all the things. I come in this time off a suicide attempt.
Yeah.
I definitely had a drinking and drugging problem, but more so than anything, I had a problem with spiritual and emotional bankruptcy.
Okay.
And, I tried to kill myself here in Baton Rouge, and I ended up in Our Lady of the Lake. I went on a run just really kind of trying to see how many different color pair of grippy socks I could get in one stretch, right? Like
The tall center's closed, right?
Where
did they send you
from?
from?
So I went to the ICU, the trauma unit, and then downstairs to one north,
Okay,
which
so
was
they
their
got
psych
their own
facility.
unit,
And then that was my second run through a psych ward in about 6 months. And the first time when I went, they asked me if I wanted rehab, and I didn't think that I needed rehab at all. And then that second time that they offered me rehab, I just started crying.
Yeah.
I knew I needed it. And they sent me to Woodlake. I went to Woodlake Mid-City, and went through the whole thing, man. Did Mid-City, they when they let me out, they put me in that big old white van, took me over to the next step. I signed up for IOP at the Life Center. Shouts out Ashley Empson. That's my girl. That is my rounds, man. And Woodlake as a whole saved my life. Really, I mean, definitely I can't take anything away from, the paramedics and the ICU and the trauma unit that, brought me back to life, but Woodlake helped me regain myself.
You've gone to treatment before. You went to
A bunch of times, man. I've been to whether it be inpatient or intensive outpatient for DWIs or whatever the case is.
What do you
7 times.
What do you think was different? What do you think we did differently, and what do you think you did differently?
Well, so I think that over the years I thought that I had hit my bottom because I had been environmentally worse off. I had been physically worse off. I had been doing drugs for sure in the past that were physically addicting. This time, really the only physically addicting drug that I was doing was drinking, and I was spiraling in my drinking, but I was doing like ketamine and nitrous oxide. I was doing drugs that were meant for escape. I was trying to escape. And when I say spiritually and emotionally bankrupt, I was as far away from God as I had ever been. I had no control over my emotional nature. All the 8 bedevilments, right? I had all of them, and I say it all the time. If there were 9, I'd have had that one too.
That's good.
And I just, once I figured out that they were going to save my life, that I was going to survive that attempt, because I didn't just, I've seen a lot of suicide scars since I've been in recovery this time, and a lot of times I'm like, well, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
I cut myself 7 times in one sitting, and it was. I just knew that if I was gonna be alive, that everything had to change, all of it, everything.
Right.
And the educational system at Woodlake really taught me a lot. At the time, at Mid City, Rhonda was the director over there, and I really wish that she'd have been a counselor at the time, because the brief amount of exposure that I got with her counseling was amazing. Woodlake also with the Life Center helped me regain a sense of community that I had isolated from. But I was just ready. I just needed to do everything differently.
Yeah.
That was my experience. The only time that I'd ever been to rehab that it had really kind of worked, that I went for the actual purpose of getting off something and not at the urging of court systems or parents or whatever, was in 2004. I just wanted to stop shooting crack.
Yeah.
Right. But I still had all kind of reservations.
Yeah.
This time I didn't have any reservations. And for me, I know that's what it takes.
Oh, yeah.
You can't have the reservations, because I know where they lead me.
I got to be ready to be done.
Yeah, man.
Right.
And I was, the only lower bottom that I can imagine, the only lower bottom that there is after a unsuccessful suicide attempt is a successful suicide attempt. Yeah. And I get better at things the second time I try them. So, that wasn't up for debate. I just, I remember my dad walking into the hospital room after I had attempted suicide, and I remember the look of absolute defeat on his face, and I never want to see that again, man.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah, man, that's rough. Family members, we put them through
hell.
I don't even think we realize the hell that we're putting them through.
Yeah. Well, I realized it that day.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good realization.
Yeah,
I remember my brother coming to treatment and telling me he wouldn't pay for my funeral if I OD'd.
Yeah.
And walked out. And I know it's probably the toughest thing he's ever had to do, because we're tight.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
How do you get to interact with the clients over there?
Yeah, I try to as much as I can. It's anytime we're having like an especially tough case, kind of like jump in there and see what I can do. We got a great team on site.
Yeah.
Everybody's got everybody's like strong in one area or the other. I walk around the unit as much as I can and just get as much exposure as I can. But,
and you guys are 24/7, right?
Yeah, 24/7. Yeah.
And there's patient advocates there 24/7.
We're about to move that way. So we've been going from like 8 a.m. to midnight. And so we're about to move to a full 24/7 shift with the advocates. Doctors are on site 24/7. Obviously, nurses are too.
And then you'll have a clinician there as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would be just clinician, behavioral health clinician.
Oh, Lindsay.
Lindsay, it's Carlton.
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 Yeah.
Shout out Lindsay Carlton.
Yeah.
She's the reason why we met each other.
Oh, Lindsay. Hey,
Yeah.
I hope you're doing better.
Oh.
We're praying for you. We missing you. But I'm going to catch you next time. You ain't escaping this.
Yeah, she wanted to be here too.
I know. So I heard through the grapevine that you like pastries.
Yes.
And this was your first Mardi Gras?
My first, full Mardi Gras season.
How many
out
king
here.
cakes did you eat?
As much as I could get my hands on. I didn't
Okay.
document them like Brandon did. Brandon has documentation of his, but I think I participated in just about all
This
of
is
them.
your first king cake season?
No. I'm a king cake connoisseur.
Okay.
And so when I got out of Woodlake, I was 230 pounds. Right?
All right.
And after I started not feeling like I wanted to kill myself every day, I decided that I wanted to go through my days feeling pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a blender, joined a gym.
Okay.
Put some avocados on my Snap card. And started a little health journey.
My Snap card.
My Snap card, man. Look.
them yams,
Look.
you heard
I'm
me?
gonna tell you what. You can eat healthy on Snap benefits, no matter what anybody tells you. And so, So last year, I kind of figured out that carnival season is my cheat day, right? the whole of it.
The whole season.
Yeah, and so this year, I decided to kind of to kind of just like document all of the king cakes that I tried.
All right.
Most of those were at work.
Okay.
But this year alone, I personally tried 28 different king cakes.
Okay, these are all local bakeries?
No, I mean either from here or New Orleans.
So you did get some from New Orleans.
Oh yeah, Randazzo's, Manny
Okay.
Randazzo.
Yeah.
Shout out Manny Randazzo. I'm coming for you next year, baby.
That's my favorite.
You know, yeah, Manny Randazzo's is Manny Randazzo's and Antoine's are my favorite out of New Orleans, and Dong Fong, of course. You know, I mean, you gotta love a king cake that people will shoot each other over.
Yeah.
I
I think
so
it's more or less where it's at.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if you've ever been to Chef Highway, but
Yeah, it's it definitely is a proximity to location, yeah, for sure. But here in town, man, we had a lot of Alexander's king cakes come through,
Okay.
and Oak Point Grocery, which are
Very good.
fantastic, man. Oh my god, and they have the variety. You know.
small something is something I wanted to try this year, or Counter Space.
Mhm.
I don't know. I saw it. There's a dude out of New Orleans that did basically what your boy Dave Portnoy does with pizza.
Yeah,
He did it with king cake.
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's this place out here in Baton Rouge. I think it was Counter Space. That sounds like it would be a bakery, huh? Counter Space.
So it's more, if I'm not mistaken, it's kind of like a health conscious snack place.
Okay, well maybe they don't got king cakes in.
They might.
Well, it was like one of his top fives of the year. Obviously, Dong Fong was second.
Yeah.
I forget what his first one was, but I definitely picked a rough time to start meal prepping and
Yeah,
wanting to lose weight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I did eat. I had some slivers.
Mhm.
I have good friends. Everybody at work decided to bring a king cake every 3 days,
Yeah.
which made things very hard for me.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna not eat one.
That's disrespectful.
So how many did you eat?
All of them. I mean, it's like every time I could get my hands on one, I think I was in that break room, probably cutting up a piece.
Okay, and your
with my
favorite?
bare foot. Oh man, there was this strawberry shortcake one that really like had me going. I can't remember who made it, where it came from.
If I'm not
But-
mistaken, it was if I'm not mistaken, that was Ralph's, and it was brought to us by Mario.
Oh yeah.
You know Mario.
I know Mario.
Shouts out Mario. Thanks for adding to the weight.
to the calories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ralph's Grocery. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What else do you like about Baton Rouge?
Man, it's really it's the food.
Where are you from again?
North Alabama, so just north of Huntsville, Alabama.
What's the name of the town?
Hazel Green.
Hazel Green,
Small
Alabama. Shout
farming
out
community.
Hazel Green,
Shout
Alabama.
out Hazel Green.
How many people live in Hazel Green, Alabama?
Population, I couldn't even tell you. I know it's a one highway town. You either live on the west side or the east side of 431.
What was your drug of choice?
I was a little bit of everything, but alcohol primarily when I was in Hazel Green.
Okay.
And then I went to some rehabs up in Nashville, Tennessee, where I was introduced to opiates.
Is that one of those like highly meth towns?
It is, yeah. There's definitely a lot of meth.
Okay.
A lot of meth.
Yeah.
That wasn't really my thing. I was more of like anything I could do to put myself to sleep. Alcohol, opiates, benzos,
All right.
So-
So how long have you been here in Baton Rouge?
Since May.
Okay.
Well, actually, we moved out here about a month and a half before, so I'll probably say end of March. But yeah, I mean, it's been great. I will say this: coming from Austin, the people out here are amazing. It definitely reminds me of home and that small town feel.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Compared to Austin, yeah.
compared to Austin, everybody out here has been extremely welcoming. Everybody I've met, this has been just a warm environment to be in.
Cool, man.
So I've really enjoyed my time out here for sure.
Love that.
Yeah.
And you've been here since you came here for treatment?
No, well, it just happened to be that way. I didn't come here necessarily for that.
Okay.
I just happened to be here when I tried to kill myself, and this is where God landed me. I'd been in New Orleans for 14 years before that. I'm originally from West Monroe, Louisiana.
What you was doing in New Orleans?
Well, comedy and
Okay.
selling drugs.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
where
I,
I'm from.
yeah, I was unemployed for 14 years before. I lived in Baton Rouge from 2000. 2006 to 2010, and then I was doing a lot of music promotion at that time, and so it just made more sense for me to be in New Orleans. And then I was there for 14 years, just
Hanging,
flailing around. Yeah.
Not a bad city to do that.
It's a very easy city to do that, and I was surprised. Yeah.
Plenty of that.
Yeah.
So man, I would like to hear like. Just I want to like when I say what's your best story from Rise Community Hospital, what comes to mind? That's what I want to hear.
So it's back in Texas. We had a patient that came in the ER, and so this was one of those cases where he came in leg laceration, clearly because he had been drinking on the boat. Usually in that case, they'll have one of the advocates kind of come up to the ER room and like sit down and talk to him, and that was me at the time.
Okay.
And he was completely resistant to it, and so all we did was just try to plant some seeds. I was like, hey man, we're here if you need us. I'll even be, I'll probably be your advocate. Left him, with an admissions number, and like 6 months later, he called back wanting to come into the program. And I happened to be his advocate also, like when he came to the hospital that we were at. And at that time, he was toying with the idea of admitting that he even had a problem.
Yeah.
He was dealing with a lot of stuff at home and whatnot. And, he left that first time with us, ready to admit that he had a problem, but not ready to do anything about it. And so he comes back again. So he readmits, and this is probably another 4 months later. He readmits, and this time he's ready. He's ready to like do something about it.
Yeah.
And I'm his advocate again. And this time, he's wanting to speak to me. He's wanting me to like be his advocate. And then we're going. He discharges. He doesn't go to treatment, but we start hitting meetings.
That's cool.
And I hook him up with a good buddy of mine that ended up being his sponsor. But it was like kind of seeing the full course from him, like not even coming into the hospital for anything substance, related. And then leaving, this different version of himself. And that was kind of like what, and that was early on as an advocate. And that's kind of what really sold me on like this whole thing. Cause I'd never worked in treatment before.
Okay.
This is my first time dealing with any of this. I mean, I'd been a sponsor before, and that was about the extent of my, and then I was a raging alcoholic and a drug addict.
How long were you sober before you started working at Rise?
About 6 months.
6 months. That's cool, man. I love that.
Yeah. And so, and one of our advocates now is a past patient of ours at the Louisiana location.
So
and they're now
work at the same location. Dude,
yeah.
I love
She's
that.
got 8 months sober. She's doing good, and so.
All right. Best Rise story. Go.
I really have a bunch of them, right? And I think probably my favorite one is we had a girl come in who had a wound on her leg. Now, she was checking in for detox, but she had a wound on her leg that looked like a shark bite.
Oh, wow.
And, I talked with her a bunch, but she wasn't really receptive to our suggestions, right? And we have stipulations, right? If the first time we'll kind of let you run your own thing. We're not going to force a lot of stuff on you, but if you come back, we got some stipulations.
Okay.
You're going to take the suggestions, right? Because you only got a couple of shots with us.
Right.
Just simply because of the nature of our med protocol.
Correct.
And I love that, right? But when you come back, it's time. We're fixing to get in it. And she when she came back, I took her out to smoke a cigarette, and I just kind of laid into her, right? I was pretty hardcore with her. And then she was going to be getting out on like a Saturday, Sunday. I was off on the weekends. But during her ketamine infusion that evening, instead of having something distracting on the TV, I just sat in the room and I just read promises to her, right?
Wow.
And
that's powerful.
It was because like And so I told her, I was like, I'm going to give you my number, right? And our patients tend to mess up a room, right? Because like it's like it looks like a giant gerbil lived in it when they leave. So I told her, I said, I'm going to put my number in your purse. If you ever need me, call me. And I did. I did just that. I went in our property room and I stuck my number in her purse, and then she got out and she ended up going to rehab, and we got her some wound care, and it was a very tricky situation getting the things that she needed in one place. And when she got out, I get a call one day, and she was like, or a text message one day, and she was like, "Hey, it's me," and da 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 da. Just, I want to thank you so much. Can somebody please help my sister? And my mom needs help. And so we ended up getting all of them through there.
Yeah.
But to this day, she's still sober, and we're in pretty regular contact, right? And then in my new position as alumni coordinator, that's kind of what I'm doing, is aftercare with patients. And so I was going through, I was just making phone call after phone call after phone call, and I saw her name coming up, and I was like, I can't wait. I can't wait to get to this one, right? Because I had just talked to her a couple of days before.
Right.
And so I called her up, and immediately she answers, "Hey, what's up?" I was like, "Look, I already know the answer to most of these questions, but we're going to make it official. I'm calling you for work detail right now." And
that's cool, man. When do y'all follow up? How often? I mean,
so we start at 30 days.
30
We give them
days,
about
okay.
30 days. Now, and it's been kind of difficult with the patient load that we've had lately, because we have been not only full but over full a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So I'm really kind of falling into this position at kind of the right time, because I'm just kind of trying to catch everybody back up to speed on it. And it's really to just to kind of give you an example of the personal care, the personal care that we put into this is, out of in the past, I don't know, 6 days, out of the probably 120 phone calls that I've made, about 30 of those I've already had their name and number stored in my phone. Right. So when I call, they're like, "Hey, Brandon,
what's up, Bob?
What's up?
Yeah.
What's going on, buddy?" And I mean, the great stories never end. We had another patient that he came in, he had been shooting. He's in his 30s now. He had been shooting heroin since he was 14 years old. His mom actually thought that he might have done some permanent damage to his brain. And all of the things that heroin does, right? The posture was bad. He was slurring his words.
Yeah.
He could barely open his eyes. Being a Woodlake alum, I get called for some service every now and then. So I went out to Ethel Saturday to do a fifth step.
Yes.
And as I was leaving, there he was, fully erect, eyes wide open, speech perfectly clear. It really, it made my day. I knew that was the reason I was there, right? I was there to do that fifth step, but that was the reason I was there. And then to top it off, yesterday I got called by Ashley Hempson to come tell my story. And since I was already there, I decided to stick around for education, because I had not been in a while. And I got to sit through education with that same patient. Yeah. And the guy that I did the fifth step with. So shout out, y'all know who y'all are. Shouts out to both of y'all, man. I love y'all. Y'all are success stories, and I'm very proud of y'all. I'm very proud to be part of your recovery and you part of mine. So awesome. I love working at this place, right?
And that's part of it. We recognize, we kind of have the detox portion. We specialize in it, and we do, as a service, follow up with them for 18 months after their discharge, and that's where we rely on a lot of the treatment centers in the area, and getting to know people, and getting in touch with you and the team over there at Woodlakes. Shout out to Jody. easy to work with.
What?
You know, we love working with you guys, and so we
Say
rely
Lily
on
and
y'all
Eddie,
to.
too. Say Lily and Eddie.
Lily and Eddie.
Okay.
I love all y'all.
Jody's head can get big on us, dog.
The team over there is great, you know, and so, you know, and allowing, you know, being able to get, you know, the patients, you know, into the right hands, you know, and then also being able to follow up with them. That's kind of like that comprehensive, like approach.
I get it, bro. Those three, I couldn't do what I did without them.
No.
There's no way. And I know how awesome it is to work with them. So, like, transitioning into family, okay? How impactful has it been to see, if there is any, family members, you know, moms, grandmas, dads, sisters, cousins, whatever the case may be, coming in there with the client at first and just, you know, just as broken, powerless, have no idea what else to do for their loved one. Do y'all see a lot of that? And also, how has your guys' family dynamic changed since you've gotten sober?
Yeah. Well, I'd say to answer the, you know, the first part of that question, you know, this is the kind of disease that like really wreaks havoc on the family, and I think those are the ones who suffer. You know, I believe as an addict that, you know, we kind of we suffer, but not to the level that they do.
We have drugs and alcohol to fix it.
We have a coping mechanism, right? That's part of the problem. You know, they're coming in and they're defeated, you know, and they're just at a loss for words, and they just don't know what to do, and it's that desperation, and like you can see the desperation out of that family, like whatever it takes, and you know, we take that into consideration and use that, you know, like that's why our team is great, because we have just a complete you know, diversification of backgrounds. And, you know, my personal story is, you know, my dad and my mom fought a lot over my dad's drinking, especially in my younger years. He used to drink until he passed out. Yeah. You know, I used to feel responsible for keeping their marriage together by, you know, waking him up and like making sure he went to bed every night. You know, and that carried over to a dependency, a codependency with like between me and my mom. And so in the dynamic of our family was like my mom was the enabler, you know, and my dad was just, he was there.
Yeah.
You know, and so I got to, and I was that son that, you know, didn't see the damage that I was doing for 15 years. I was lost in my own shit.
Yep.
And it was actually, you know, it was at Rise where like going through kind of our protocols where I kind of realized how selfish I had been. And so, you know, and I take that experience, you know, especially with like the patients and their mothers, you know, and I've got a lot of, you know, I can speak to them from the perspective of their son or their daughter. And I can speak to the son and, you know, or the son and the daughter from the perspective of the person that's been there, you know, and let them know the damage that they're doing to their family. And so we just try to, you know, bring in as many different perspectives as possible. And I think that's part of like the community, you know, what's so great about having a community, whether it's Rise, whether it's Woodlake, is you've got
no doubt
people, different backgrounds, different experiences that can come in and speak and be the perfect voice that person or that family member needs to hear at that time.
Yeah, I mean, we have Faith. Miss Faith is a clinical director in Abbeville, and she had her first husband OD'd when their kid was 3 years old. Now I don't even know if she even drinks, dude. She's one of those people, those weirdos that just never done anything in their life. But to have that perspective in the building of a wife and a mother who lost the father of their child, it speaks volumes, you know, because I don't have that experience. I've never been a wife or a mother of a child, but I got somebody 2 doors down that has, you know, so definitely important to have diversity on the staff. What about you? What about your family? How's that changed?
Man, my family's always been like religious, but our whole situation brought us like closer together. Like all in all, my dad doesn't drink anymore. My mom
Dad
and
doesn't drink anymore.
doesn't drink anymore.
Just stopped, or
Yeah.
did you
So
play a part in that?
yeah, he says I did, and
Cool, man.
and I say he drank himself until he went, passed out every night, and like
Yeah.
still, like from my perspective, I didn't like really think he was like an alcoholic, like at least like the kind of drinking that I was doing, to me he wasn't an alcoholic, but he'll say that he was, and he, and he entered the program, and he read the big book, and this all stemmed from like my own problem and how we handled it as a family. So
Did he start all that after you got sober?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And that's what I'm saying. Like, looking back, it's hard to deny that God, did not
Come
play a
on,
role in
bro.
each and everything. Cause like our family's as close as it's ever been. I'm in a position where, I didn't plan on it, anticipate it. I never had any desire to work in treatment. And like, here I am, and I absolutely love my job.
yeah.
And so that's, it's God's crazy, man. God
Any
works.
brothers, sisters?
I got a younger sister. Yeah.
What is she? One of us?
No, she's not. She learned from me very early on.
Oh,
So
you see, that worked out.
she settled in. She's got she just had her second kid like a year ago.
So you're twice an uncle.
Yeah.
Any kids yourself?
No.
Okay. Significant other?
I am dating someone, but no, we're not
out,
not married or anything like that.
How's it going?
Going good. It's
How many
currently
dates have you been on?
it's long distance. So we've been doing long distance. Yeah, since I moved out here.
So no dates.
No dates. Not this month anyway. So I get back as much as I can, but it's tough.
I don't know who you are, but you need to go out on a date with Jake.
Appreciate it.
Wingman.
Yeah.
Wingman from afar.
I appreciate it. I'll take all the help I can get at this point.
All right, my brother.
Um,
Family situation, working in treatment.
So I come from a broken home. My parents got divorced when I was very young. They both married amazing people. I really couldn't have been luckier in my step parents. My none and my. It's crazy because they were always all good friends. My stepdad and my stepmom knew each other before they married either one of my parents, to the point that they had conversations about the people that they were dating, not knowing that they were dating my parents. And even my stepmom and my mom consider each other very good friends.
Cool.
I'll never forget being at Thanksgiving at my stepmom's family's house and my mom coming out there, and my dad's a cut up. That's where I get my sense of humor. He raised the window and he looked down and he was like, "Look, the two best looking women on the hill, and I married both of them."
Hey.
It's just how he is. But my dad, there was never any like real addiction problems. I brought that on myself.
But so your addiction didn't cause a ruffle between you
Oh,
and
it
your
definitely
dad?
caused
Yeah.
ruffles in my entire family. The way that I hurt, I think, my family the most, other than being like a huge disappointment, even though they would have never said that to me,
Yeah, of course.
was the fact that I abandoned my entire family. I just
Okay.
I didn't want them to see what I was doing
Yeah.
to myself.
That's neat.
I was just, I'll just go for a while, and actively avoided my entire family for a long time. And then, as we were discussing, earlier, when I did, they were always very supportive for anything that I needed. But I don't know that they ever knew or had any hope that I was going to get clean. But after seeing the look on my dad's face after I tried to kill myself, after that, it was like I just want to do everything I can to make my parents proud. And so now, I mean, my dad absolutely, he's definitely proud of me. You know what I'm saying? And I talk to my dad and my mom every day. I talk to my mom twice a day. I talk to my dad every morning on my way to work. I've got a almost 20-minute drive to work. I call both of them every morning.
That's cool.
I do comedy. I've kind of gotten out of this habit, but my dad was super proud that I was doing comedy, so I used to call him after every show.
Yeah.
Well, my dad likes to go to bed early.
Hey.
And so I would call him. Dad, hey.
Comedy don't happen early.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It was like, you asleep? No. Yeah, you were. And so then it went to the point. It was like, Dad, are you asleep? And he'd be like, no. And I'd be like, damn. It was like I was trying to call him and wake him up. But I mean, he absolutely cannot believe that I'm working in the environment that I'm working in. It definitely. I know that I'm doing something today that that my entire family can be proud of. But mainly, now I don't have any kids of my own. I've got 2 nephews that have seen the kind of hell that addiction can cause in somebody's life. I also have a niece that is in the custody of my stepmother. My dad and my stepmom decided to call it quits after 41 years, but she's been in my life that long, so she's still a huge part. But to be able today to be a good example for the first time ever to both of all 3 of those kids is a very great feeling for me. My oldest nephew is he's never of course he's a kid, so he drinks some, but he's never really had a problem. He was old enough to see the damage that all this was doing. My nephew has had a couple of little rubs with some trouble. A little while back, I guess this was last year, he was getting put into a military school right outside of Baton Rouge, and here's kind of the difference that all this has made in my life. He called me up and he was like, "Hey, Uncle B, can you be my mentor?" And I was like, "For what?" And he was like, "Well, I'm going to the school and they want me to have a mentor, and I want you to do it." Wow. And I was like, "Well, yeah, I'd love to, bro." And he was like, "Thanks, man, because I need somebody that doesn't have a felony." And I was like, "Jackson, I'm very flattered that you think that I don't have a felony, but I do."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, damn it, man, I don't know anybody that doesn't have a felony." And then it kind of, in saying that, it just dawned on me, like, this 16-year-old kid doesn't know anybody that doesn't have a felony record, like, I mean, other than his mom,
right?
Like, and that's, but to be able to be somebody that kid can look at and be like, I want my Uncle B to mentor me, man. It's like,
perspective is reality, and you gave him a good perspective.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. So working in treatment myself, I know it's very important for self-care. So what do you do for that outside of working at a Rise Community Hospital?
Well,
you look like a Frisbee golf guy.
No. I read. So I read a lot of books.
Okay.
What
you reading right now?
Oh, Maps of Meaning by Jordan Peterson.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty dense, but it's a good read.
All right.
So I stimulate myself. The sober living I went to was mind, body, spirit kind of framework, and so I try to do something each day to stimulate each one of those. So whether it's read a book, I'm trying to get back into exercising. I'm starting small, just walking, and then my prayer and meditation, has been always been a strong point of my program. So, sticking with those, and then
what's your meditation look like?
Oh, I mean, breathing.
Okay, you do some breath work.
Yeah. So okay. 4-6-8 or 4-6-7 breathing.
Okay.
I tried to do the box breathing thing, but there's just like the rhythm is just not for me.
I struggle with that too.
So 4-6-7, that 7-second exhale is just, that's where the peace is at. So, I stick with that. And then, the whole mindfulness, I try to empty my thoughts, focus on the orange.
Man.
So
emptying your thoughts. I learned really fast that if you want to find out how crazy you are, start meditating.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It went from, 1,000 thoughts
Yeah.
every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Anywhere's from I love God to chicken and rice for dinner.
It's like giving the voices a microphone, man.
Yeah. And now it's now it's set an alarm and it's going off before I thought we were halfway through. So very important to me.
Yeah.
The old meditation. I'm not a big I do about 2 to 5 minutes every morning.
Yeah.
And it's usually after I park my car at work and I'm in there. A lot of times I get interrupted by rambunctious fellow employees who think I'm just in there, just to be in there, but they don't know.
Yeah.
But I do find that some good deep exhales before I walk into that building does a lot for me.
Yeah.
So I like that.
I tried doing the whole crystals and all that types of meditation, but when it came down to it, like that breath work, man, that's just magic.
I have a funny story about meditation. When I first got sober, I didn't know how to. I thought like it was like a perfect thing. I'm one of those alcoholics. Grew up an athlete, so I have to be the best at everything. And I had to be the best meditator that ever walked the face of the earth at like 2 months of sobriety, right? So that was impossible. So I'm thinking that for a good meditation session, you have to have silence, and that's all it is. Which is that's expectations. That's not going to happen. So I had the bright idea. I was like, you know what? Tanning bed. I'll go tanning.
Oh.
Now, I don't know if y'all can see, but I'm not very good for the sun.
Yeah.
Dude, after the second time I walked out there, I looked like a crawfish.
Yeah.
I'm hobbling. I'm asking my girlfriend to rub aloe vera on my skin. And it's,
What's wrong with you? I was meditating.
Yeah. I'm trying to meditate.
Yeah.
Best way I know how.
Yeah.
Like, that was the best idea I had at 2 months sober. Like, dude, I'll just start going to the tanning bed.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
I
So today it's a lot different.
Laying in bed listening to Tool is enough for me.
Tool?
Yeah.
You like Tool?
Oh, yeah.
Man. Did you go to the concert here recently? No. I got a partner that's all he listens to. Yeah. Shout out Ricky Nunez. So you consider self-care comedy?
Part of it. So when I started comedy, right, I've been doing comedy for about 8 years. And when I started comedy, people ask me all the time, like, how did you get into comedy? And they're like, oh, that takes a lot of balls. And I'm like, I don't know how miserable you've ever been, right? Like, but that's how I got into it, was misery.
Yeah.
I was just looking for things to not be miserable anymore. And so what I realized now that I'm sober is that it was just one more thing I was chasing, right? It was just like money or
Instant verification.
drugs or women or, I was happy for the time that I was on stage and then I'd get off stage. I was just using it for a dopamine hit.
Nice.
When I got sober, I honestly didn't think that I had any chances in comedy at all anymore because, like, who wants to deal with a suicidal, flaky drug addict and this, that, and the others? But I still wanted to do it, so I just kind of, like, put my head down, and the only three things that I concentrated on were my recovery, my job, and comedy.
Sounded like some good material right there.
And,
super flaky, suicidal drug
Yeah,
addict.
I got a joke about it. Suicidal drug dealers, they're like, suicidal people don't make good pharmaceutical reps. Like, nobody wants to buy those drugs. Yeah. But once I finally got, like, comfortable with myself as a sober person and a sober person, not only a sober person on stage, but a sober person in a barroom atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like, once I finally got completely sober, it was almost like I had superpowers, right? Like, I wasn't scared to look people in the eye anymore, so I could engage directly with somebody in the audience. My imagination was fired, just like the book tells me, right?
Yeah.
So my ability to expound on jokes and write jokes in the moment was something that I could do. Also, I could remember things that other comedians had said before me, so I could come and just build off of that. And so it was like this whole new, arsenal of weaponry that I had to just, I found that I'm a much better comedian now than I was.
Okay.
So yes, it is. It is in a lot of ways self-care, but it also fills a lot of my time, right? Because, like, I get to do all kind of other things surrounding comedy. because of comedy, they brought me on the Built by the Red Stick podcast, which I know we're a friend of here.
Yes, definitely.
Shouts out Ronnie and Michael. Y'all are awesome.
No doubt.
Because of that, because of comedy and my ability to speak freely and fluidly in front of people, I think I get asked to tell my story a little more.
I would see
My
that.
story is I incorporate a lot of jokes in my story, so that makes it a little more entertaining for me and them. Tonight, after I get off work, I'm gonna drive over to Dixie to meet this team of people that I'm on a sketch show with, and I get to play a crack dealer named Cornroll.
Cornroll.
So that will be in the ninth season of Laugh Now, Laugh Later, coming to Fossum streaming platform as well as Amazon and Roku.
Cool deal.
A couple of weeks ago, I got to go read for a movie audition. Yeah, I didn't get the part, but
Dusty guy.
And I know they were looking at Dusty Slay for that.
Okay.
I don't know if he got it, but they went with somebody a little more seasoned. So it was my first audition. So I was just excited to be in the room.
So you're a little more seasoned now.
I am.
Love that.
And then like in November, I get to go with my Lunchbox Comedy family to Cozumel to do jokes on the ocean.
That's cool.
Man. So like I get to do all these cool things. So yes, it is, and I also write a lot of recovery material.
Okay.
One of my I tell this joke a lot, but it's like
I want you to look in that camera right there and give us your second best recovery joke.
Second best.
I don't want to give them their best. They got to come see you.
Okay, so I am in recovery. I'm very sober. I go to a lot of 12-step meetings. I have friends that are single parents. They can't really trust their baby mama or daddy, so they bring their kids to 12-step meetings, and then they apologize for it, right? I'm sorry I brought my kid to the AA meeting, but I think that's cool. You know what it's called when you bring your kid to a 12-step meeting? Prehab. That's it's a quick little like street joke, and I tell that one a lot. But but for self-care, like I said earlier, once I got sober and not feeling like I wanted to kill myself every day, once some of the promises started coming true, and I was comfortable with the fact that I was alive. Once my prayer went from, like, thank you for waking me up, and thank you for giving me another shot at life. Like I was saying that prayer and not meaning it. Once I got sincere about that prayer, once it was genuine, well, then it was like, well, how do I want to feel?
Yeah.
And I wanted to feel good. So I took the last of my, I'm a weird one. I came into sober living with a bunch of cash. And I took the last of my dope money and I invested in a personal trainer and a gym membership. And I was 230 pounds, 100% body fat.
Is that real?
Yeah,
that can't be real.
It's not real. But it was a lot. And so, I just really kind of practiced the same dedication to the gym as I did my program. And I'm glad to say that I've gone from 230 pounds down to 173 pounds as of this morning, about 14% body fat. So I do all that, and then also my prayer life and my meditation life are very important to me. Jake and I were talking on the way here about Jordan Peterson, who has been very influential in my life. He's got a book, The 12 Rules for Life, which is probably his most notable work.
Shoulders back.
I read it.
So your shoulders back.
Yeah. Treat yourself as if somebody you're responsible for taking care of.
It's the first book I read outside of treatment. I listened to it while I was in the gym.
So I read it. Once a year now, just to that book.
Speaking of, don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I'm chomping at the bit to access. Both work a program, 12-step program.
Yeah.
Did it work?
We're both evidence of that.
So you mean to tell me you followed some clear-cut, precise instructions with someone else?
Yeah.
And you've never had the obsession since then?
The problem has been removed.
Wow.
You know, and dude, it's one of the things, like when people come through our hospital and they don't want, they tell us that they want all these things. Oh, I want to get my life back. I want my
bet
kids
you
back. I
do.
want that. I don't want to be miserable anymore. This, that, and the other. And Jake could tell you, I'm quick. Like, I keep my book handy.
Yeah,
You know,
it's a sword.
because, and that's, I was talking earlier about reading the promises to somebody while they were going through their infusion, and that was why, because she had been telling me that she wanted all these things, but she didn't want to go to rehab. It's like, well, she didn't want to go to AA either. It's like, well, you're telling me that you want all these things. Well, here's the things that you want, right?
Yeah.
Like, for me, it was the 8 bedevilments, right? Like, drugs and alcohol, a problem. All of those other things. I was having trouble with my emotional nature. I could not make a living, not one that left me feeling fulfilled. I couldn't seem to be of real help to other people. I was full of fear. I was prone to misery and depression. All of those things, and I needed the opposite of them. And if anybody is familiar with the book, the 9 step promises are the opposite of them. But you have to go through those steps.
That's right.
To get those promises. And for me, like, doing comedy, I find myself in what a lot of people would consider questionable situations a lot.
But the book talks about that.
But
as
I'm
well.
there. I know what I'm bringing to that situation. I'm not there to steal vicarious joy through people that are drinking. I'm there to bring something to that situation. I have something to offer. It is a dream of mine. Like, I hear, this is one thing that drives me crazy, is I hear people that play music be like, well, I got to give that up now. Why? You got sober. This is a dream of your. Why would you give up on your dreams when you get? So that's the time to achieve your dreams.
You're fixing to get better at it.
Is now.
Yeah.
Do the thing. Work the steps. Be a recovered individual. Now, I know that I will always.
Wait, what did you say?
Be a recovered individual.
Recovered.
I know that I will
So
always.
refreshing.
I know that I will always have a problem,
Yeah.
right? But as long as I keep doing the things that got me here, I will continue to be either this person or a better version of myself.
Recovered.
And that's recovered. I
love it.
will always be an alcoholic. I will always be an addict. But I can be recovered.
Yeah.
But just the same way, well, let's call it not a medically assisted treatment. Let's call it a PAT, a program assisted treatment. Like, I have to do it forever, just like that Subutex or that Sublocade or methadone, Suboxone. Dude, you don't need it. You don't have to have that. And that's, like, for me, as being somebody who was definitely, like, ketamine was my drug of choice. So to be in an environment now where, like, dude, I work for one of the biggest ketamine distributors in the state. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get to see the benefit of this thing that I just happen to abuse, right?
Yeah.
And for me, that's like on a daily basis, the promises are coming true in my life. Like, no matter how far, dude, before I got this job, I was flipping burgers part-time for crap money.
Loving life, though.
Loving
I
life.
could tell.
Loving life. And shouts out to
I could
Dearman's
tell,
Diner, man. Casey and Justin,
Ooh,
I
I
love
haven't had
y'all.
burgers
Thank
from there
y'all.
forever.
You
Yes,
know,
indeed.
yeah, man. I mean, but that's where I was before I got this job.
There's something about that, and I don't know what it is, but so back in Lafayette at my home group, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I am the same. When these 4 guys and myself all have the same story of riding a bicycle to work to make poo pay. And more happier than they've ever been in their lives.
Yeah.
And they all have long-term sobriety.
Yeah.
And that when I got out of treatment, Jason was telling his story, and he's talking about, this is a dude who's an engineer, had making $250,000 a year. He's working at a pizza joint, riding his bike in the rain, and didn't have a care in the world. And I'm hearing this, and I got a bike, and I didn't have a job yet, but I'm like, man, this can't be real. And next thing you know, I'm riding my bike up and down the streets of Lafayette with my music on, and I was so happy. I was so happy about life. And so if you want long-term sobriety, work the steps and get a bicycle.
Work the steps. Do it with a sponsor.
Yeah.
Do it with a sponsor.
That's it.
You know, I can't. I can't say enough about what intense step work has done for my life. And the book Carry This Message says it right. You can't lead. You can lead an alcoholic to spirituality, but you can't make them take it.
Nope.
But if they pick it up, that pretty much every time they work the steps, that they will be spiritually and emotionally stronger on the other side of it. Well, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be the best version of myself that I could be. And dude, Saturday morning, I'm getting up, I'm driving to Tunica Hills with my sponsor to do my fifth step. Why? Because what I started realizing was that there were some harms that I left off mine.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think the best thing that the program has done for me is to make me aware of what I'm actually doing in
That's
my
it.
life.
God makes you aware.
You know,
of it,
and
for
and
sure.
so that's what that is. You know, is I started realizing that there were some people I needed to make some amends to. I got to get this stuff off my plate. So like fifth step in 2 years, man, I can't wait to do it.
That's because you care, man. You got some results.
I did.
We're the type of people that if I don't see results, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing to do with
Yeah.
it. But if I get some results from something, I would like some more, please.
And it's funny you mention that because, like, going through the steps this last time, for the first time, getting out of detox, finally I was able to like get out of my own way, and just take suggestion. And I believe fully that is like the number one thing that gets in people's way. Whatever was asked of me by my sponsor, I did it.
Yeah.
I did the third step prayer laying in bed next to him, as awkward and as weird as that was, because he asked me how I prayed. And I told him I prayed laying on my back in bed. And he said, okay, well, we're going to lay on our back in bed, and that's how we're going to pray. That was weird. I did
weird.
it. But the point is, taking the suggestions and just doing the thing and being patient and then getting the results. And as a result of those steps, now, my perspective shifts away from, okay, well, how do I make myself feel better? Poor me, this and that, to how do I be the best version of myself, like Brandon was talking about?
Yeah.
How do I be of maximum use to the next addict that's suffering? And ultimately, like, how do I add to the stream of life? And that perspective is what allows me to live a peaceful and contentful life today. And there's no obsession when
So
like
it
that.
sounds to me that you guys not only work in treatment, but that's not your recovery.
No, not at all.
Love that.
It can't be.
It's not. And I watch so many people falter and fail because they lean on. Well, I work at a treatment center. I'm helping people every
Right.
day.
I've
Now
seen
look,
it too. Yeah.
you are,
Yeah.
and it is part of my recovery. But I know without a shadow of a doubt, I don't want to just do that because that's
I'm not
a different
working
type of
steps at work.
situation.
Yeah.
No, we
I'm
don't
not
do
working
that.
steps at
No.
work.
So
Yeah.
leaving and going out into the community, like I can tell that you guys are doing that, and it's so. I don't know how to say this, but when you know somebody's doing it, you don't have to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you know,
Mm-hmm.
reminds me of Noah Lou Holtz quote. Shout out to Lou Holtz, rest in peace. I'm a big Notre
R.P.
Dame
Lou
fan.
Holtz. Okay.
But he said, for those who don't know Notre Dame, no explanation will suffice. And the ones who do, no explanation is necessary. Yeah. And I look at that as the guys that have had the spiritual awakening as the result of the steps and that are doing the deal. Mm-hmm. Like you don't have to come tell me you're doing the deal. I know you're doing the deal. Mm-hmm. And then the ones that aren't doing the deal, I could try to explain to you what the deal feels like, and you're never going to know it.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Man, I appreciate you guys for being here.
Thanks for
having us,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, bro. It was awesome.
Great.
Pleasure meeting you, dude.
Yeah, good to meet you
Yeah,
too, man.
and one last finish off, if there's anything you'd like to tell the struggling alcoholic or the family member of the alcoholic, where to go, where to come, what should they do?
You're not alone, first off. And there's a place for you. You can call us at Rise Community Hospital. You can call the team over at Woodlake. We're in this to help. We're in this to just take our experience and just try to help the next addict, the next struggling family. So, whatever you got going on, we'll do our best to help.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Yeah, reach out if you're struggling, reach out to somebody. Do we have the admissions number with us? I don't know it.
So
by
I
heart.
too, like Matt, have to pull out a card for
That's
that.
fine. Come see us. I would love to see you come in. I would love to see you leave. As a suicide survivor, you handed me this, and I don't even have my glasses on. Our admissions number is 888-360-0909.
Nailed it.
It's I can recognize shapes. It's 24 hours. We've got a great admissions team. We would love to be the first step in getting you better, and that is for sure. That is sincere. So reach out. And for me, I want to thank you so much. For me, this is as somebody who started their recovery journey at Woodlake and is now at Rise, and am now sitting here representing both of those entities as hopefully a success story as long as I continue to do this thing. It really means a lot to me. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Look, if you're struggling, let us help you. If you know someone struggling, let us help you help them. Like these guys said, man, just ask for some help, bro. I don't care where you go get sober. If the journey starts at Rise, let it start at Rise. If you feel more comfortable with us, give us a call at 225-939-3656. Or you can call me personally at 337-557-9191. Real quick, Brandon, when's your next show?
My next show is tomorrow night at Rally Cat Brewing, opening up for Mike Cannon. That is put on by Lafayette Comedy. And then I am also Thursday night, or that's Thursday night. I'm also Friday night opening up for Mike Cannon as well at Club 337. And then Saturday night, I'm guest hosting Kaboom at Boomerang Comedy Theater. That's at 5:00 in the afternoon. Come catch me wherever. I'm all over the place. I got some shows at the Hilton Tunnel, March 20th. I am March 21st at the Greater Baton Rouge Art Council doing Comedy for a Cause. It's a great way to help nonprofits. So I'm all over the place. Check me out on BrandonBruffettComedy.com.
There we go.
Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok. Hell, follow me home. I need company.
Hey,
I'm talking about.
when's your next show?
Right now.
Yeah, about to go back to it.
Yeah,
Yes, indeed. All right, look, guys, we love you, and we're here for you.
absolutely.